Hey everybody, welcome into the Thinking Crypto podcast, your home for cryptocurrency news and interviews. I'm your host, Tony Edward. On your way in, please hit that subscribe button as well as a thumbs up button and leave a comment below. If you're listening on a podcast platform such as Spotify or Apple, please leave a 5-star rating and review. Folks, we got to talk about the price of Bitcoin because today it pumped past 120K. Now, yesterday we were talking about closing the day above 118K was very bullish. It meant trouble for the bears, and things are looking very good here. Now, as I stated in yesterday's podcast, this is not going to be a straight line up. You will see retests. We could certainly see a big pullback pretty soon after a major move like this. So just keep it in the back of your mind. Understand the cyclical patterns of markets. Understand that we have to pump, pull back and retest support, then continue pumping. That's just how the market works. Now, sometimes when you hit the parabolic phase, you usually don't have those pullbacks as much. You see green candles after green candles. We're not there yet. Okay. So please understand this, but the market is looking good. The total market cap is at $4.5 trillion right now. Bitcoin at the time of recording, let me refresh here. It is at $120,188. Ethereum over $4,400, close to $4,500. XRP over $3. BNB near 1,100, and Solana is at $231. So we're seeing some really good movement here. But as mentioned, markets don't go in a straight line. So just anticipate volatility as we continue. And if you look at the weekly chart, I like what I'm seeing here because a lot of people were using the weekly chart to say, oh, look, the top is in, right? And there's a big green candle on the weekly chart here. The MACD shows the bears are losing momentum. They're losing strength. So that's very good. If you look at USDT dominance, the stablecoin supply dominance here, it is breaking down. And once we break through 4%, folks, and then 3.7%, that's going to be really bullish for the market. Bitcoin dominance right now is finding some strength, and that of course makes sense because Bitcoin is grabbing the liquidity. It's what we've talked about ad nauseum. The liquidity flows through Bitcoin, it pumps, it goes to its overbought zone, it cools down, the liquidity rotates to ETH and the other altcoins. We've seen it time and time again. Now, one of the things I want to call out, which I have been doing recently, is that the Bitcoin dominance collapse is not as big as what we've seen in the past, where you have a blow off top. It's nowhere close. You can look at it from 2017 and even 2020 into 2021. We haven't seen that type of breakdown yet, but it's coming. We're not far from the top. And my time frame for that, of course, it's 3 to 4 months or so. One of the things I said in yesterday's podcast is we could see this bull market bleed into 2026. I'm not saying that's guaranteed. I'm saying it's a probability. It's a possibility. But we could, of course, see the blow off top in Q4. But this is where I don't have a time machine. I don't have a crystal ball. So I can't tell you the exact timing. But we're going to continue to follow the data. We're not going to be emotional. We're not going to be flip-flopping. We're going to just look at the data and update accordingly. So everything's on track here, guys. Patience is, of course, the key. Now, something my friend Caleb Frenzen, who I've had on the podcast multiple times, and I'll actually be having him on the podcast next week to go through the charts, he tweeted out today, it's going to be funny to watch people squirm if we get a shakeout to 116K to 118K, talking about Bitcoin, which would only be a potential support zone. I'm not ruling it out. In fact, it would be perfectly normal bullish behavior. So again, anticipate pullback, right? To build the support levels, but we're forming higher highs and higher lows, and we have multiple factors, not one or two, multiple factors confirming we're still in a bull market. So we want to look at this from a macro perspective. And, one of the major indicators is, of course, global liquidity continues to be a leading indicator, and that shows we still have room to run. Some of the other things I've been highlighting is the Bitcoin MVRV. So right now, Bitcoin is not overvalued. It is now moving off the neutral zone. And we've seen it get overheated in the past, and then a big correction would follow. So we still got room to run here. I think the next major target for Bitcoin is around 132K. It may go to 135, 137. We'll see. But the higher it goes, the more liquidity flows to the altcoin. So we want Bitcoin to do its thing here. And another major factor, on-chain data shows the Bitcoin whales continue to accumulate. In fact, they've been accumulating at a rapid pace over the past month or so because that's when the price has been going down and retail's been calling for the top and the fear is there, right? So people have been panic selling, and the whales, I've been telling you guys, this is what they do. The market makers and the whales, they play this cyclical game and they continue to accumulate. So when this number starts going down, that's when I'm going to be like, right? We're going to look at the data and say, okay, top zone, we're entering that top zone. Be prepared, start, taking your profits and much more. So, of course, this is why you are subscribed and you're going to tune in, because I will be sharing all these respective data points and much more as we continue in this bull market cycle. Now, folks, this episode is brought to you by Trezor. Trezor makes beautiful hardware wallets that make it easy for you to self-custody your crypto assets. I'm a user of Trezor's devices. I personally use the Trezor Safe 5. It's a beautiful device, great to use, large screen. And folks, Trezor, they were the ones who pioneered and created the hardware wallets and the seed phrase setup. So it came from them. And they started doing this in 2013, and their hardware wallets are open source. And folks, they support a majority of coins. So I'm talking Bitcoin, XRP, Ethereum, Solana, and much more, even your new coins. So everything you could pretty much think about: Cardano, Dogecoin, Chainlink, and so on and so forth. They have a great software called Trezor Suite, which helps you to manage all of this. And they also have a hand-holding service that you can talk to a Trezor rep to help you set up your device. And don't worry, they don't ask you for your private keys. That is not something they will ask you for. But if you have questions and you want to, make sure you're doing the right thing, they can support you. So they have that service. And folks, if you use my code Thinking Crypto, all one word, Thinking Crypto, you can get 5% off your purchase of a device. So check out Trezor. Once again, I'm a user, I'm a believer in the product, and they have just beautiful devices, guys. It is really easy to use. So check it out. Link will be in the description. Now, we have some interesting news around Cardano and the Brave browser. So I hold Cardano, some 88 tokens in my portfolio, not a lot, but I also have the Brave BAT token, the basic attention token in my portfolio. I use the Brave browser here and there, not for some things because I need the plugins and much more, which are, usually better on Google Chrome, but they're partnering. So they said here, Brave's 100 million users can now access the full Cardano ecosystem. Input, Output, and Brave have completed the Cardano integration in the Brave wallet, delivering seamless multi-chain choice and privacy-first experience. So great news here. If you're a blockchain project, you want to get as much distribution and use and have utility, and this is really great to be plugged into the Brave wallet. So great to see this adoption for Cardano. There's sometimes people saying, hey, you don't cover Cardano a lot. Well, there has to be significant news. You know what I mean? Like, please show me this significant news. You guys can send it to me and I'll report it, but it has to be significant. And I usually do that for, coins. Like I talk a lot about coins that are getting bought for digital asset treasury companies. Well, show me the company that's buying Cardano, right? Or show me some major tokenization that's happening on Cardano, whatever it is. So I'm not biased against Cardano. Like I said, I hold a token, but it has to be news for me to actually, present the relevant news to you guys. All right, moving ahead. Canaan shares surge after 50,000 rig Bitcoin mining deal. So wow, this is a big deal here. That's a lot of rigs. Canaan Incorporated shares jumped more than 26% in early trading Thursday after the crypto mining firm landed a 50,000 rig order. Canaan said that a US-based company purchased the latest generation Avalon A15 Pro mining machines, an institutional-grade Bitcoin mining rig. The buyer was not disclosed, but the sale was reported as Canaan's largest in over 3 years. So some whale company here is getting ready to mine like crazy. 50,000 rigs. That's pretty incredible. That's a big order. So the company's CEO, Nangjing Zhang, said the sale highlighted both companies' confidence in the long-term growth of Bitcoin mining and the demand for highly efficient next-generation infrastructure. According to the hash rate index, the United States accounted for 36% of the global Bitcoin hash rate, the total computing power miners used to secure the network, making it the world's largest mining hub. So we got a geopolitical thing happening here. Remember, China was leading at one point, but now the United States is leading, and that's not by accident. So Bitcoin's here to stay. There are people who hate and flood Bitcoin, but clearly the United States is bullish on Bitcoin. Wall Street's bullish on Bitcoin and other crypto assets as well. I'm not a maxi for any token. I believe in diversifying. Bitcoin has carried my portfolio throughout the early stages of this bull market. Now the altcoins are catching up, but Bitcoin continues to make me money, folks. So this is why you got to leave your emotions at the door and make sure you diversify and be smart. Don't listen to FUD. Look at the facts, right? And this here is a clear fact. And remember, the United States established a Bitcoin strategic reserve and are now exploring ways to purchase Bitcoin for that reserve. Now, look at this. Bullish launches in 20 US states after winning New York licenses. So, if you recall, Bullish, the institutional crypto firm, they just went public a couple months ago and they got their BIT license, which is, very hard to get and is very coveted by many firms. And now they're expanding across the US. So, everybody's in the race here trying to get as much market share as possible. So, institutionally focused crypto trading platform Bullish has launched in 20 states after receiving a BIT license and a money transmission license from the New York Financial Services Regulator last month. Bullish debuted spot trading with two institutional clients on its first day: crypto infrastructure firm BitGo and crypto brokerage Nonco, it said on Wednesday. So you see, guys, the institutional folks are building, expanding, investing, getting their licenses. They're not bearish, they are bullish. All right, moving ahead. Standard Chartered Custodied Alloy X launches tokenized fund on Polygon. So I've never heard of Alloy X, but I have heard of Polygon. That's one of the blockchains out there that is an Ethereum layer 2. They have a token that used to be called Matic. It has recently been changed, but I do hold some of the tokens in my portfolio. So, tokenization infrastructure company Alloy X has launched a tokenized money market fund on Polygon designed to combine bank custodied assets with DeFi native strategies, a move that highlights the accelerating growth of real world assets on the blockchain. The fund, called the Real Yield Token, RYT, represents shares in a traditional money market fund whose underlying assets are held in custody by Standard Chartered Bank in Hong Kong and subject to regulatory compliance and audits, the company said. Folks, lots of major takeaways here. You got banks involved, some of the biggest banks in the world, and they are bullish on tokenization and crypto. They are adopting blockchain at a rapid pace, and of course, tokenization of traditional financial products and even new versions of them on the blockchain is the future. So I hope you see what's happening here. And some of you may say, well, how do I benefit from this? Well, they're doing it on Polygon. You can hold that token on Polygon, right? That's the name of the game here. And for the first time in history, you don't have to be accredited and you can participate along with JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs and the rest of Wall Street. So that's the game-changing technology. And of course, many of these blockchains have a hard cap on their tokens. There's not an unlimited supply. Some of the tokens get burned. Some are locked up. They're not fully all in the market, from a distribution standpoint. And you can, of course, put these tokenized assets to work in DeFi. So there's an investment opportunity there as well. So incredible stuff. It's amazing what's happening. All right, moving ahead. Australian Solana Treasury company buys over 200 million pump tokens. So this is pretty crazy. They bought the pump.fun token, and I'm not a big fan of pump, fun, but hey, look, the token may do well in the bull market because a rising tide lifts all boats, right? But there's a lot of nonsense happening on pump fun. I'm not a big fan of that sector of the meme coin market. But it's interesting that these companies are just adding more crypto to their balance sheet. So Australia-based Fittel Corporation has bought 216.8 million pump tokens. And last month, Fittel secured a $100 million financing facility to accumulate Solana. So all of this is good if you hold the respective token. I hold Solana. I don't hold the pump token. But if they keep buying these tokens that I hold, I'm happy about it. I'm going to ride that wave up to the parabolic phase and greed phase and sell and take profits, right? This is going to help with the supply and demand economics of these tokens. And with increased demand, they could grab up a lot of the supply. However, one of the things I've been telling you guys, there's a bit of a bubble forming here, clearly. So we got to be careful with these companies. I'm personally not invested in any of these companies, not even Michael Saylor's strategy. Not for me. Too risky, in my opinion. I would rather hold the assets they're buying because I think there's more money to be made there, less volatility, and less risky, in my opinion. More Solana news. Solana Treasury Sharps Technology eyes $100 million share buyback. So, Solana digital asset treasury company Sharps Technology wants to acquire up to $100 million of the company's outstanding common stock. Share buybacks can help boost the company's share price as management tries to communicate to investors that it believes its stock is undervalued relative to its holdings. So, you're seeing these companies are starting to get creative here and again, a bit of a bubble forming. Final news item: European Central Bank picks tech partners for digital euro. We continue to see central banks and governments around the world are moving towards CBDCs, stablecoins, tokenization, and much more, right? And it's what I've been telling you guys about. The future governments, markets, and economies will all run on blockchain technology. So, the European Central Bank, as part of its preparation phase for potential digital euro launch, announced framework agreements with technology providers responsible for components of the central bank digital currency. In a Thursday notice, the ECB said it had reached agreements with 7 entities, and at least one more expected to be announced to provide services related to managing fraud and risk, a secure exchange of payment information, and software development for a possible digital euro. Among the companies were Feedzai, which uses AI to detect fraud, and security technology company Gisec plus Devrient. I've never heard of these companies. So even the governments are gearing up here, folks. I hope you see what's happening. I hope you see the direction the puck is heading here. And you have the macro view because there's money to be made, not just in this cycle, but future bull market cycles. And I've been telling you guys, when that bear market comes, I'm going to back up the truck, start loading up, and get ready for 2028 into 2030, folks. So that's the news. Let me know what you think. Leave your thoughts and comments below. Hit the thumbs up button if you appreciated this content. Please support the podcast by subscribing to my free email newsletter. It is 100% free. Link will be in the description. Check out my book on Amazon. It's available in paperback and digital, and my course at mycryptocourse.com. This is a comprehensive course that teaches you every aspect of crypto. So expand your knowledge about this technology and asset class, folks. The course is packed with tons of value. So go to mycryptocourse.com. Folks, thank you so much for watching and listening. I appreciate you all, and I'll talk to you all later.